Good morning. Oh, I should have started a minute later. It's 11:10. It's about to be 11:11. Well, let me check the phone here. What the hell does the phone say? Just turned 11:11, literally just a second. I'll prove it to you. What the hell? No, I'm not going to prove it to you because there's information on there that might be confidential. I don't know. Still says 11:10 over there, but I'm going to go with 11:11. Well, there's a lot I could talk about. I just came from my massage, so I feel a little bit better. My therapist really is both a physical therapist and a talk therapist because I'm able to do a lot of talking, which is very, very helpful. Which is why Wednesday has been a pretty good day for me to do these videos, because when I get the talk muscles going, then I'm better capable of doing one of these videos. Doing it at a level which I feel comfortable at, that I feel confident about. And I'm going to have, my brain lapses and all that kind of stuff. And I just got to let it be known what I'm experiencing physically so you understand what I'm going through, and that it's not easy for me to do hardly anything in life right now. But preparing notes and preparing what I'm going to talk about oftentimes feels like it's way too big of a job for me to do, which is why I'm doing these extemporaneously. I like the idea, though, of a conversational tone. I like the idea of actually talking to other people and just having conversation and having what needs to come out within the context of a conversation, rather than me talking through this video. Because actually, if I was to be able to record a really great conversation with someone over the course of 30 minutes, I think that would be much more effective than me ramping on a subject about something out there. Because as you know by now, as you should know by now, in May of 2017, it ain't about out there, it's about here. It's about what are we going to do for ourselves now. We have problems now. Fuck global warming. I don't care what's going to happen in 10 years to the planet. What are we going to do right now? We have people starving right now. We have problems that are urgent right now. If the environment is dirty, clean up the fucking environment. Don't tell me about global warming. I don't give a shit about the temperature. You haven't proved to me that the temperature warming up is a bad thing. I don't know that for sure or not, but what I know for sure is that I don't like a dirty sky, and you don't like a dirty sky either, so we're in agreement. So clean the damn world up. My chiropractor this morning, he's telling me about some new disease. Maybe it's new, I don't know, but he just read an article about Lynch disease. It's a disease, I guess, where the cells don't multiply fast enough and you become much more at a high risk for cancer. So there you go. Our educated elites are naming new diseases, talking about new diseases, supposedly finding cures for diseases when they are part of the problem. They're naming shit, they're categorizing, they're analyzing, instead of acting to solve the problem. The environment is highly toxic, let's clean this up. Right now, we are in a complete chemtrail bath. 2 days ago, sky was very clear. I saw planes going across the sky. They were not leaving chemtrails, whether that was because it was just water vapor from the planes, or whether the upper winds in the atmosphere were scattering them to the degree such they weren't remaining in the sky. I don't know. But right now we are in a complete chemtrail bath. I got up and out of the house early enough to see the chemtrails in the sky when it was still cool enough and clear enough. But now that we got temperatures, I think, above 80 degrees right now, the chemtrail soup is very, very thick. I talked a lot about chemtrails, or not a ton, but that is the soup we're in, so it is important. The environment, the context, what we're in. I talked a while ago, I think in a video before the series, about a bunch of fish that are in a fish tank, and what if a dog comes along and pisses in the fish tank? Are they going to realize that the piss in the tank, the dog piss in the fish tank, is the primary problem? Are they going to try to adapt to the piss in the tank? Or are they going to say, okay, look, we got to get together, we got to use all our energy and solve the problem? It could be like a Finding Nemo 3 sequel about, they're in a fish tank now and the dog comes along and pisses in the tank, and how they're actually going to solve the problem. Now, in a cartoon, they can do that. In reality, the fish are pretty much screwed if a dog comes along and pisses in the tank. But are they going to look for the best spot in the tank, or are they going to actually use all their power? Again, we have to think of them as cartoon characters with consciousness, actually capable of unification and doing something big to solve the problem, or if they're just going to look for the best spot in the tank. Look for the spot closest to where the air bubbles are, or closest to the fake plant, or the real plant, or in the little SpongeBob pineapple, or whatever it is. Are they going to continue to try to adjust to an environment that's incredibly toxic, or are we going to actually solve the problem? Now, as far as chemtrails go, there's a lot of, it's a good example because it works for everything. Are we going to continue to try to get the word out, spread consciousness? Well, don't enough people know about what's going on with this? I think so. Numbers are not what it's about. How many people would call themselves Christians in this world? Is it 1 billion? I don't know. Muslims, is it close to 1 billion or a little bit less? I don't know. Or Taoists, Confucianists, whatever they practice in China. How many of them are there? How many people get together for a football game? 70,000 people or something. Numbers, sheer numbers in and of themselves is not going to solve the problem. The problem has to be solved by a vision first. Coming together with a vision, embracing a new vision, and then acting together in accord with that new vision. Because if your vision is crap, if your vision sucks, numbers don't matter. If your vision is not based on principles that are going to work, again, it doesn't matter. And I'm very distracted by my own emoji Santa hat poop tie right now, which I put on because I just couldn't remember my own ties, which I've worn. I wanted to keep ties different, and I like to do distractions. I like to fiddle around. I like to fidget sometimes with different things, which is why I thought, well, I like to fiddle around with stuff, so why don't I actually just get a fiddle this morning? So that's the fiddle. My son got a fidget spinner recently, which is another thing to fidget with, you know, to keep your nervous energy kind of contained. Because right now, despite how well I'm communicating, despite whatever it seems my state of being might be to you, I don't know what it looks like to you, but I am pretty much traumatized. The cells in my body are just freaking out right now. And they have been for a little while. I did a blog post where I spoke very clearly that I was in great dire need of help. Now, I'm a little bit bashful about asking for support, and I don't want people doing too much for me, but if you can do a little bit for me, if you can visualize me in light right now, if you can put a thumbs up there, if you can email me, I guess, when the website is ready to go, and hopefully that's going to be ready pretty soon. Again, sorry for the delays, but my ass is just getting whooped right here, and I'm not getting the support I need from other people to get this ball rolling. So contact a new person today, blah, 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 bullshit. You don't need to hear too much about that, but hopefully the contacts I've been making over the last week or two are going to be the ones that are going to be helpful for me to get the stuff going. I'm very excited about my music right now. I'm about to finish a song, I think today, hopefully today, if my voice is working properly, to finish a song called Galaxy West. And that will complete the CD. I had a couple other songs on this album which didn't quite make the cut. They didn't tell enough of a story, I felt. And so Galaxy West was a song that came together happily in the last week based on a couple melodies that I came up with when I was sitting in the sauna. 2 different separate melodies, and I added a third, and we have a pretty kick-ass tune right now to complete the album. It's the only song with any words, very sparse words, but there's words on it. I was against using words, and I'm just bullshitting, am I not? Okay, so should we talk about something salvation-related? But as I said, the tone should be conversational about this. So ideally, I'd like to be talking to other people and have the communication be observed. If I feel like if I got a good enough vision to share with humanity, then it's incumbent upon me to try. And, oh God, sorry. A little too blasted to figure that one out. But let's go back to support for a second. So I'm very reticent to ask for support directly, but here I am asking for support and letting you know that I'm uncomfortable feeling worthy of support. So I have to get over that. I have to get over the fact that I am bashful, that I don't like to ask for help, that I will ask for help, but I don't like people to feel like they're being strained when I'm asking for help from them. So do what you can that's comfortable for you. So if you want to visualize me in light or send me something, give me a thumbs up or ask your God of your choice to bless me or whatever, that's fine. Because the other day I was really kind of to the point of just freaking out. I had so much energy in my system. When I went to the church the other day, I absolutely just broke down and I started just crying uncontrollably for about 20 minutes. I had to find a couch and just kind of cover my face with my hand. I talked to the pastor after that, and I asked if they could all pray for me there, because I still will happily accept prayer if people are willing to do that for me. But I am pretty reticent to ask for support. nor do I want to do one of these videos where I'm freaking out too much that I'm like yelling at the camera and saying, you gotta help me. Because say if you're walking on a trail out in the wilderness and you're with your buddy and you're screaming, help us, oh, we're gonna die. And then a car comes along and the guy rolls down the window and says, hey, what's going on, guys? Are you okay? And you say, no, we've been lost. We've been lost for like 2 hours. And he says, oh, well, the visitor center's right there. You see it? And you're like, oh, well, don't I feel stupid now? I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have freaked out. But sometimes it gets to that freak out kind of level. And if you're freaking out, that's okay. This is kind of freak out kind of times right now that we're in. But regardless of anything, regardless of what the cause might be, what's going to be helpful for you is a support system which will be there for you so you can shout out to someone. Because oftentimes a quick phone call with someone is enough to dissipate it, such that you can kind of just change your direction a little bit. You know, think of like a ship's course just changing a few degrees, but that few degrees is enough of a course correction to make the difference that it needs to be. Just notice 11:11 on the time there. So we're drinking water with apple cider vinegar. Let's see if I have any things that I want to touch on, otherwise we can just end right now. And the problem is I have several notes here. I have, I think, 7 things written down. Maybe I'll just blog about some of them if I think they're important enough. I have New Gospel written down, so that's a good thing to talk about. The problem with all this stuff is if we get away too much from extemporaneous way of speaking, if we get away from a conversational tone, I feel like my expression goes out the window with that. I'm not comfortable not expressing myself in a way that feels true to me. So if I'm just barfing out information, then I start to feel like a computer. I become conscious of what I'm doing, and I get uncomfortable with that. I can only be me. And hopefully you can understand that too, that you can only be you, and that you being anything other than you is very weird and uncomfortable. And you should also understand that what the world needs is for you to be the highest expression of you that you can be. And you should also understand very clearly from your own experience that according to how you're being supported is going to determine in large part the degree at which you can be you. Because maybe you have things that you want to share, but you can't share them because they're not being received by the world. That's going to hurt. So you need to have your creations enjoyed by others, appreciated. That's one aspect of it. So even if you're doing a lot of things for yourself, you're being very creative, you're contributing, and you feel kind of good in your own little universe, if you can't share that with other people, eventually you're going to cave. This is a relational universe. Cats and dogs like to be, for the most part, in the same room as us. We don't have to be communicating, engaged with them in an active way. We can be engaged in a passive way. Just by our presence being big and comforting and conscious, we can be incredibly healing for other people to be around. Like if you want to go to a hospice center and just sit in the room with those people, it can be very, very helpful for them. They might not even be able to express gratitude for you being there. You might not even be able to exchange any words at all. But just your presence can be so helpful and healing to people. But there has to be an empowered presence. And that's why the group work is so important. Because regardless of how far you feel like you've come on this journey, brain lapse, sorry, shit's going to happen. Getting hit pretty hard. Getting hit really, really hard. Regardless of how developed you may be spiritually, according to your own ideas. I can hear my voice resonate in the violin. That's called co-resonance right there. Probably an important point that relates to this tangentially. Got to finish before 15 minutes. Did I just forget again? Another brain lapse. Regardless of how advanced you believe yourself to be spiritually, you might still be at a very, very remedial level when it comes to basic relating and basic communication. We're capable of building skyscrapers, aircraft carriers. We're capable of knowing what exists trillions of miles away from us. We're capable, what was the other one? Writing symphonies. Yet we still might be at a completely remedial level when it comes to just basic relating and communication. And that comes back to trauma again. Birth trauma, 85% in the hospital. I've got to finish before 15 minutes. Okay.